name's Travis Krorman, junior, political science major, and my position is president of the Arts and Sciences College. I was elected as a representative, but we then elect internal leadership, so my vote gets taken away as a representative because I'm president now, so I guess I'm officially president, not a representative anymore. So.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the higher ed funding cuts.
It's bad. We're in a very bad situation. Colorado currently ranks 50th in the nation for what the state provides its students. So of 100% of CU's budget, only 3% of that comes from the state. And we're still the state university. We're supposed to be the flagship university here in Colorado for students to come to. And it's become financially unattainable for too many people to attend the school. And so we've seen education funding be cut. I think it was 56%, this is a statistic, since 2001. Just a number comparison, in 2001 the state would give CU students, I believe it was just in-state students, as a lump sum, just over $5,000. This doesn't mean that this goes to the pockets of the students. This means it's just funding for the school itself. 2008 we give just over $2,000, a decrease of 60%, while tuition has been increased every single year consistently. In-state students are, their tuition can be raised annually, whereas out-of-state students pay a flat rate. So this is, created a huge financial problem for a lot of in-state students, as well as out-of-state students too, because I'm out-of-state, we pay a lot of money to come here. And so it's, the funding crisis we're seeing right now is unmatched by any other state in the nation.
And can you talk a little bit about who exactly is most affected by these higher ed funding cuts?
I would probably say lower income individuals. I don't want to say they're at the poverty line, but they are certainly families that are limited in what they take in each month. I would say that these people are affected the most, just because they're the ones with the limited funds to begin with. And so to increase tuition year after year after year has put a huge burden on the backs of lower middle class families. So I would say that those are probably the people that are affected the most. In-state as well, rather than out-of-state.
Okay. And piggybacking off of that, with the Empower ticket, I noticed that the tagline was keeping college affordable.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's what probably won your success, the ticket success. But can you tell me how you're going to bring about that change?
Yeah, it's we're facing a pretty difficult situation right now because we are a public university, we're a state university. That means that the state legislators set the tuition, because that's just how it is in the Constitution. And it would take a constitutional amendment for the state of Colorado to actually change that situation. So, what we want to do, number one, is lobby these legislators, lobby the CU regents as well. National legislators, like Jared Polis, he is on the Education and Labor Committee in Washington, fully committed to addressing this problem. And so we need to lobby these people, tell them, look, the status quo is unacceptable. We are number 50 in the nation. That is unacceptable. And we need to tell them, look, you guys need to get in touch with what us students actually want. And that's step one. There's a lot of things that are out of our hands, because obviously if students had the ability to lower or raise tuition, they would probably lower it 100%. So, it makes sense that the state legislature is the one who sets the tuition rate. But we just think that every single year CU has faced structural deficits, partly because of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which is a huge, complicated taxing mechanism. But basically what it does is it doesn't account for increased economic development within the year. So it's sort of like a flat rate of what the state takes in. And so, if they have a flat rate and expanding enrollment at a university, there's there's obviously going to be some imbalances there. And so, number one, lobby state legislators, see your regents. Number two is we want to find efficiencies within the budget right now. As a student government, we currently have the largest budget in the nation by a pretty wide margin, last I checked. I believe the number's $36.3 million that's for the newly named CUSG, CU student government. There was a name change during the election.
Oh, not UCSU.
It used to be. It's not UCSU anymore. So they're the ones that are primarily going to be tackling this issue. I'm in the College of Arts and Sciences, so I'm a little bit more limited as to what I can do, but that still doesn't mean that we're not going to try to address this problem, because College of Arts and Sciences is the largest college in CU, so it will make sense that we're doing our very best that we can. So we want to find efficiencies within the budget, find where dollars are being wasted, find where some groups are being underfunded, some groups are being overfunded. There's already a mechanism in place that says, at the end of a year, if a student group has a little bit of money left, they take whatever's left over, put it back in the pool for next year. I think that's a great idea. We got to find creative, developments like that help us save dollars wherever we can. With a huge budget, like $36 million, there's a certain degree of money that I think is being, I don't want to say wasted, but it's not being used appropriately or to give students the best bang for the dollar. So those would be the two main things that we're going to focus in on. As a member of the Arts and Sciences Board, we're primarily concerned with just funding student groups. So we want to make sure that these student groups are accountable for their own actions. We want to make sure that they're taking proactive measures themselves to fundraise and not just asking the Arts and Sciences Board for a blank check, which a lot of student groups feel that they're just entitled to receiving whatever money they want. So we want to make sure that they're really taking responsibility for themselves and doing as much fundraising as they can by themselves, because ultimately that lessens the burden on us because we don't have to dish out as much money. So, in quick one sentence, lobby state legislators and find efficiencies within the budget.
And is this lobbying going to be on the part of just the student government and just using, that power and that position to lobby, or are there things that, students like me can do
Certainly.
to help in that?
A couple months ago, there's, I don't know the exact date,